Good morning, folks. Welcome to Ash Ellen Talks. Today's guest is a definition of resilience in action. Nancy Benet is a licensed CPA, entrepreneur, and CEO of Fix It Accounting and Success Your Way, an online education platform helping women build businesses aligned with their deepest desires. But her journey didn't start in success. After divorce left her with 4 kids, no job, and over $650,000 in debt, Nancy had two choices: collapse or rebuild. She chose to rebuild. Through financial discipline, powerful mindset shifts, and unshakable resilience, she turned her lowest moment into the foundation for two thriving businesses. Now she helps women tame their money fears, transform failure into fuel, and manifest success without burnout. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here, Ash.
Awesome. When I heard about your story and when I do some research about you, the first question that came into my mind was that, was there a moment you almost gave up?
I did give up. I gave up over and over again and had decided that entrepreneurship was not for me, that I was just no good at business. And so I went and got a job. I didn't want to. I wanted to be home with my kids and have that flexibility that entrepreneurship provides, but it wasn't making enough money. And so I went to work, but soon after lost that job because the company got sold and it was the recession and there were no jobs. And there was nothing else for me to do except start a business. Well, I was contracted to buy someone else's business despite my reservations and thinking that I wasn't good at it. But I thought, well, if I'm buying somebody else's, maybe he can help me be good at it. But along the way, we signed a contract and I leased an office, fully furnished. It was beautiful. And it was a beautiful, wonderful day in my life when we leased that office. But the day after that, he backed out, the seller backed out and gave his business to his daughter. And I was left there again with the 4 kids, the no income, and the $650,000 in debt. And now I had a lease that I had to pay. So, yes, I wanted to give up. I did, but there was really no other option for me. And so I had to dig deep, and I did. And I just decided to stop being a victim. I decided no matter where I was, which was really at a low point, I just made a decision that said, you know, you didn't do all of this to yourself. A lot of it was you, your decisions, your choices of who to trust and what to do. But ultimately, it wasn't completely my fault, but I decided to take responsibility for it anyway.
Wow.
And that was a turning point for me, a little bit
The
unstable.
risk taking of an entrepreneurship, what it's mean for you? I mean, it's not an easy task when you get into entrepreneurship because you have no idea and in future what will happen. It can losses or maybe a successful business, or it's a highly risk oriented one. So you shifting to that risk taking mindset from a deeper depression, I can say in that word, if you don't mind, and how it came thriving and successful one in your path, and what is the key stone for that?
So, in my mind, entrepreneurship is much less risky than working for somebody else. You never know
Wow.
what they'll do. Take the job I was just talking about. They sold the company and moved all the accounting operations over to Colorado. Well, that's, thousands of miles from here. I live in Florida. I can't go to Colorado. So it was a very bad time in the job market. So I lost my job. I really had no choices. And so in my mind, when I'm thinking about growing my business or starting another business, I look at it as less risky than other paths I could take. But a lot of that too is having good mentors, reaching out and asking other people who have been there before me for help, because I feel like that's way less risky. A lot of businesses fail. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. They do. Thousands, millions every year fail. But I think because somebody didn't get help, the help that they needed. They didn't go all in on that business. They didn't make it a priority in their lives. And when you do all of those things and when you really work at it and just intend absolutely you're going to make this work, it goes much better.
Yeah. And Nancy, when it's come to the corporate culture, we know CEOs and COOs and C-suite employees. They all are very busy with their tight schedule, and they're trying to find room on some spare time to do some stuff. But actually, they are fully packed. And what is the reason for this? And what is the solution for this?
Oh, well, I just really think it's how they choose to spend their time because we all need to find our own area of genius. What is it that we are super good at? But we tend to not work in that area. We all, me included, I really have to watch myself on this. We all tend to do the easier things. Let's work on the email. Let's work on the task list today. Those things aren't going to move you forward as much as sitting and learning to delegate, learning to have other people who have that area of expertise to help you, learning to really only focus on what you need to do. Because as a C-suite executive, as an entrepreneur, it is your job to vision for the future. It is your job to find your team, put them together, set them up for success, shine the light on them so they can do what they do best. And when they do that, and you've enabled them to shine and to do the things and be great in themselves, that shines right back at you. There's no need for you to do all of it. If you're trying to do all of it, you're going to fail miserably.
Yeah. And Nancy, when we talk about the entrepreneurship in the current market, the AI bubble or it's a boom, and a lot of people have a lot of comments on this. But we can see AI is transforming and it's a big disruption. And a lot of companies are moving towards AI and implementation. And new startups are coming into market like based on AI and new technologies, especially this ChatGPT and CloudBot and all. So these entrepreneurs are there and registered the business, and there are some fund rounding, bootstrap or something else, and they are coming with some capital, and they are employed with some people, and they set up the business. But they have no idea about the financial background or in pure way accounting, IFRS, IAS, and GAAP policies. They have no idea about that. And this kind of situation is there in the market. And what is the solution for this?
That is so common. Somebody who's good at something starts a business. It doesn't matter what the something is. They start a business and they don't have any idea about the back end of how to run a business. And the solution is find the people to help you, mentors, um, a business incubator. There's all kinds of resources. We just tend to think that we can do it on our all on our own because we don't know what we don't know. And so we try to scrimp and save money by not hiring other people or looking elsewhere for that help. But that's a guarantee of disaster basically. Even if you don't fail, you're still going to have a lot of hardship if you don't find somebody that knows what they're doing to help you.
Yeah. And Nancy, now the AI thing is going on and it's a big topic. And if you switch on the TV, the AI, and even the Google, and even from the big tech companies, they talk about the AI. How this AI can transform the finance and accounts in the future.
Yeah, that's a great question. We use AI every day in our practice, and we do believe we have to grow with this trend. We can't ignore it. We can't pretend like it's not happening. And so I've been talking to my team about, if compliance, for instance, which would be the accounting and the tax work, go by the wayside because AI is handling all that, we've got to pivot and be more in with advisory work, which is something we do a lot of anyway. And that's more fun for us. So we're
Yeah.
kind of headed in that direction and pivoting. But in business, you have to pivot. Stuff happens all the time. A new person comes in your market, so you have to change something. You just have to be ready to change at any moment. You can't just keep going along like you've always done and expect things to be the same because the only guaranteed things in life are death, taxes, and change.
Yeah. And the entrepreneurship and the tax filing. So these two are complicated. I have seen in some small companies and startups. they have a tax consultant separately, and they have accounting consulting separately, and they have some more mentors, and these are kind of a not a burden to the company comparatively when it's compared to the marketing and the production and the stock count and all. It's a bit comparatively small amount of money they are spending on. But is it giving the right value to the company, or right mentors, or right kind of altitude or angle where the company should travel, and how to measure this thing?
Yeah, it's hard to know because you have to make sure that your people that are helping you, the tax people and the accounting people and the mentors, that they know what they're doing. And that's, as an entrepreneur, really hard to know. So one of the things that I would look for in the accounting and tax space for sure is lots of good reviews. Like you don't want a one-man show. It's just him or just her, and they don't have support behind them. We have a big team here, a lot of different backgrounds and experiences, and so we all work together for the benefit of the client, which is really valuable for our clients at the CPA firm. And I think it's easy to miss that you need that because you got this friend who's a CPA and he's been doing your books or your tax work for decades, and you forget that he's one guy. And what if something happens to him? What if he decides to retire? What if all of those things? So you need to make sure that your infrastructure is sound, and that would be with a firm that has all of the qualities that you need, whether it's accounting, tax, advisory, which that's the mentoring part. And I think a business leader needs to just really evaluate the firm that they're with to make sure that they can provide all the necessary ingredients.
Yeah, and Nancy, when we talk about entrepreneurship and business and insights on it, then how the cost sectors work and cost centers and all. So personal finance is one of the important thing we have to discuss because everyone needed to be survive on their own, and income levels and the expenses. So what is the biggest money lie women believe?
That's a good question. So one of the things that there are lots of different ones,
Yeah.
but from a tax point of view, people think that it's bad to pay taxes, and so they want to spend all of the money and have all the expenses so that their income is less and their tax bill is less. But what happens really is that you've spent 100% of the money. And if you didn't spend that money and you didn't need to spend that money, because I only advocate for spending money inside of your business that you need to spend that will produce more net income for you. Okay. So if you need something, buy it. But if you don't just buy something just for the tax deduction because you're spending 100% and you're saving a fraction of that. So if you just don't spend the money, you get to keep the 100% minus the tax, which, maybe it's 20%. So you get to keep 80%. It somehow I have to explain this over and over and over again. And because it's a cultural thing, that's what we're taught. Don't pay tax. It's bad to pay tax. I personally want to pay more tax every year. Of course, I want to minimize that as much as possible and make the most money with the least amount of tax. And there's ways to do that with strategy, but you have to do all those things ahead of time. You can't just walk in and go, I need a tax strategy today to make my taxes less. It takes a little time to put that together. But anyway, there's a lot to be said on the money thing.
Yes,
We
go
we
ahead. It's fine.
come
Totally fine.
we
And
come
yeah.
to adulthood with preconceived notions about money that are from our families and from our cultures. And those things dictate how we feel about money, how we think about money, how we spend our money or save our money, how we invest our money. And I think, all need to get to the root of what that is so that we can change the narrative. I had to do that. I was raised in a household that said, money doesn't grow on trees. My dad loved to say that. And it was true for him because every month, at the end of the month, they were in pennies, my parents. They had nothing left. They had no savings. They had no stopgap. They were very poor. And it's because of the mindset of that. And as an adult, because I had so many money problems, I had to rethink what that looked like. and really reframe my reference points about money and my feelings about money. And that was extremely helpful to me. But I'm finding that I'm not the only one. Lots of people, almost everybody has preconceived money notions that do not serve them.
When we talk about financial success, how much of financial success is strategy versus psychology?
I think it really all has to do with your mindset because we can hustle and have strategy all day long. Lots of people work hard, Ash. Lots of people work hard. Most people work hard, but not most people are financially successful. And so I think it goes back to really rethinking what you're working on. Let's
Yeah.
back up and look at it a little bit and think and vision for your life instead of doing the tasks. Oh, I'm working hard. I was really busy today. To me, that word busy is a four-letter word. I avoid it at all costs because I don't want to be in that hamster wheel of run, 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 run for financial success. And my success has come from stopping, backing up, and intentionally knowing where I want to go, what I want to do, saying yes to the things that are in alignment with my path and no to the things that aren't, and really being intentional about my life and how I spend my time. And I have to kind of fight with that every day, not only with myself, but with my staff members, my team members here, because it's easy for them if I'm in the office to come, hey, Nancy, how do you do this? Or what about this? But I'm trying to train them and have been for many years. And they do better every month, but train them to think for themselves and empower them to think for themselves so that I can have the time to think for how we as a team are going to go into the future.
Yeah. And how do you balance strategy with spirituality?
I put the spirituality first. I spend a lot of time in that arena, really working to maintain. One of the things I see about our outside environment is that it's caused by our inside environment, inside of our bodies. So
Yeah.
if we manage the state of the inside of our bodies, because we run around in stress, fear, worry, anxiety all the time, depression, that creates more of that in your life. That attracts more of that. So I am very intentional about keeping my own internal state well balanced, calm, out of drama, and I think that's the greatest part of my success. Not only does it bring a lot of peace in my life and success in my life, but it also brings like peace of mind for me. I don't have all of the crippling anxiety and stress that other people live with. And I think it's just a huge part of my success.
Wow. Nancy, when we talk about the business and all, so I have come through this Amazon platform right now, and your book, Tame Your Money Monster: How to Stop Fighting and Find Financial Peace. And what actually it's about, and it's talking about the money meaning, money versus psychology, or what the content on it. I mean, we don't want to reveal all the book and to give an idea to audience.
It's the story. It's just a story. The problem with money books is that most of them are thick and they're, you have to do this and this and this and this to get your money right. This is a short, easy to read, easy to understand story of reframing your money existence and looking at it from a different way. Don't let it control you. You take control. And there are ways to do that, and they're included in the book and the companion course that's available as well. And I think those are things I had to learn. And so I wrote a book about my own experience, basically. Mine was much worse than the character in the book, but we don't want to make it too ugly and bad. I think the character's situation is pretty normal. Those
Yeah.
are normal things. My $650,000 in debt with four children, no job, was abnormal. Some people have that, but not a lot. The character in the book, it's very relatable because so many people struggle. Even if they make a lot of money, even if they make good money, their spending exceeds their income, they're distressed and they look good on the outside. Everybody looks good on the outside. You can watch them on social media and you can watch them, in wherever you go in your day, at the bar or at the soccer field and say, oh, wow, that person's got it put together. But you don't see behind. As a CPA, I get to see behind because when people come in here, they've got a lot of them so distressed over their money, even if they make a lot. And so I needed a way to somehow solve that for people.
Yeah. No, I'm reading your book and the contents are very nice and it's nicely placed. You can see part
Thank
one
you.
and part two, Tame Your Money Monster and Monster in the Closet and Breaking Point and Riding the Storm stuff and all. And steps are there 1 to 10 and moving forward, 42nd page, I mean. And it's really nice book and I can see and it's very attractive. It's a cartooning pictures and all and yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. I like that it's small because people who are in distress can't read a big book. They can't comprehend it. They're just too distressed. This is easy.
Yeah. And Nancy, one more question about the finance stuff and all. And when we talk about the psychology and all, what does confidence in business really look like?
I love that question. Confidence is so vital in business, and it can't be gained anyway except by doing things that give you confidence. You can't just wish for it. You can't just pray for it. You have to go get up and do things that give you self-esteem because self-esteem and confidence, they go hand in hand. And the more you do, the more confidence you have, the more you succeed. Just at one little thing, all you need is something small that can keep you going. And over time, it really, really builds. And you'll wake up one day and go, wow, I've got so much confidence. I believe in myself that I can do this or this or this or really anything I want. But it's built. It's not something you're just going to wake up with one day. Get
Yeah,
moving. Like start taking baby steps now. Don't wait.
true. And Nancy, when we talk about it more, what are three smart money habits every entrepreneur should adopt immediately?
These are for anybody, not just an entrepreneur, but the biggest one is live below your means.
Hmm.
I see it all the time. People have the big house, the big car, the whatever, and trying to impress people that don't care about you. Why are you doing that? It's putting you into stress. So live below your means. My husband and I live very far below our means, and I like it that way because that gives me resource because that's the next thing. When you live below your means, save your money, and you have money when an opportunity arises, you're good. You've got the
Yeah,
money to take advantage of that opportunity. If you don't, if you don't want to borrow to take advantage, maybe you do borrow some, but you need to have some resource to be able to do this opportunity that you want. If you're not prepared, you're not going to get the opportunities. And the next one is only good debt. A
hmm.
lot of people have a lot of debt, and I had a lot of debt. The $650,000 was not good debt. I've got more debt than that now, but it's good debt. Good debt is something that's on appreciating assets that makes you cash flow, makes income every month, and brings money in. Depreciating assets are a bad thing to have debt
Yeah,
on. I financed my car because I got 2% loan on it and it was better for me than paying cash. But that was a strategic decision. I didn't just go, oh, I made a new car. I don't have any money. I'm going to go get an expensive car. We have to think about these things. A car is a depreciating asset. It's not going to be worth more later. So it's better not to have financing on that. Think about it. Real estate, if you're investing in your business, you can get a loan for that. But most people starting out can't get a business loan. So they have to get a personal loan, probably unsecured or secured with their house. Really be careful with that. It's easy for that money to just get gone and you've got to pay it back.
yeah. And Nancy, when you talk about this, I had some friends on this area. They have messed a lot with the bank and credit cards and all. And
Mhm.
right now they are well educated and financially independent. But before 3 4 years, they were into a lot of mess, and finally they get through it. And I have seen a lot of even the comments and all, the people are requesting me and asking how to pay the debt and all. And because as you mentioned, we have to segregate the debt, which is a good one and which is a bad, and we have to know which will generate cash flow and which one will drag us to the level to not pay and to be default at the future. It's not a good one, and we have to know. And as a financially educated, and it's very important to understand to each and everyone and all the listeners that I'm saying that. And if you are into finance, and if you are into some income flows to your personal finance, so it's very best to go on that area, not to do some fancy expenses like some branded cars or some luxury stuff, which is appreciate never appreciate. It will depreciate very quickly. So we can see in 2 3 years the real value of those assets will be like bare minimum below 20%. We can see even if you buy a new car from a showroom right now, and after you ride like 2 3 miles, it will be dropped like below 80%. You can't sell the same car for the same tag price. So this is very important to understand to everyone. You have to be very careful with the spending, and when you're choosing the asset, you need to know the right thing. And when it's come to debt especially, you have to think twice and get some ideas from financially educated people. And you can search for podcast and some stuff and all. And Nancy's here. I will leave her details and how to contact her in the description below. So it's important to understand. And Nancy, when we talk more about financial independence and the business and identity, if someone feels stuck right now, what's the first mindset shift they need?
So feeling stuck is I've felt stuck so much of my life because of finances. But I think the first thing is to face whatever it is. We tend to throw it in the drawer, hide behind it, throw it away in the garbage, don't look at it. We're putting our blinders on and really hoping it'll go away. It's the ostrich method. Put your head in the sand and assume that it'll all be okay. But when you want to get out of something, you have to face it first. And that's what there is in the book. Our character Edie is facing her monster and realizing her monster's not as bad as what she thought. And so when you look at it might look really bad, but your perception of that is very different than reality in almost every case. And you can fix it. You can. My daughter came to me one day. Um, she showed up in my office and shut the door and started bawling. She was crying and she was so upset. And she said, "Mom, I have to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" And she's like, "I'm in such deep credit card debt that I can't get out. I'm so stuck. I will never be able to pay this off. I just made the wrong decisions. I just don't even know what to do." And I was like, "Okay, um, I could bail you out, but that's not in your best interest. So I'm not going to. I'm going to show you how to get yourself out of it because that's the way, right? We need skills. Each of us as humans need skills to handle our things. And going through something hard like that gives you not only the skill, but also the confidence that you can overcome hard things. So we together sat down and looked at her financial situation and we made a plan. And it wasn't as bad as what she thought. We made a plan that would get her out of debt in 2 years. And she started working her plan. And she did everything right. She did, she was not shy about getting extra jobs or whatever she had to do to make this go away because she wanted it so badly. She didn't sit on the couch whining about it. She got busy. And I think it was about 90 days she was done. She was out of debt. It was
Wow.
much faster than she expected. In her mind, when she first had it, it was the rest of her life. And then when we made the plan, it was 2 years. And then in reality, it was 90 days because she worked so hard at it. So you
Wow.
can do it, whatever it is.
Yeah. What's the best financial advice you ever received?
Um, my friend, I used to go, or I still do, go to lunch with my girlfriends once a month. And I was talking to my friend. Both of these women are business owners, and they're, very well respected in the community, and I really appreciate their friendship. So I'm at lunch with my friends, but I was having cash flow problems. This was years ago. I was having cash flow problems, and payroll was coming up. And I got, X number of employees at that time. Maybe it was like 6 or 8, and they had worked, and I needed to pay them, and I didn't have any cash. And I was complaining about it to my friend. I finally opened up and said, "Hey, I'm having this problem." And she rolled her eyes at me and she was like, "Oh my God, Nancy, you cannot operate this way. You have to have a buffer." And I was like, "Well, I invest my money back in my business." And she's like, "Stop. That's great. You can invest your money, but you need a buffer. You can't operate this way." So she taught me this one thing, and it's so valuable. It helped me in ways I can't even tell you. She said, "Take your $0. That's your bottom. You don't want to go below zero in your checking account." She said, "Raise it up to something else and then keep raising it. Save up to that, then keep raising it, keep raising it, keep raising it." That was years ago. And I promise, I said I needed $30,000 because my payroll's so big. And so I thought, okay, to feel comfortable and not have all this financial stress, I need $30,000 as my new zero. And again, I set a goal. I thought it was going to take a year. And I just started working at it. And 60 days later, I had my 30,000. And I've been raising that ever since. And it's been the most valuable tool that I have used because now every time an opportunity comes to me, I have cash and I can say yes. And it opens the doors for way more in terms of business and real estate and all the things that I do.
Wow, it was a very good and valuable advice, and especially it's applicable to me here. And Nancy, we are near to exit, and we have discussed a lot about entrepreneurship and startups and accounting firm, and we discussed more about the taxation and CEOs and confidence level and psychology of money and a lot of things and women in entrepreneurship and all. So at the end, I would like to ask, there are a lot of listeners, and most of my listeners are into business and startups and entrepreneurs, and where they can find you and what is the service you offer from your entrepreneur.
Well, we have Fix It Accounting. So Nancy at fixitaccounting.com can find me, or the fixitaccounting.com website. And then there we do all the accounting, tax, and advisory work. And it's lots of fun in our office. We have dogs, and it's just a beautiful place to be. But we have clients all over the country. So no matter where you are, you can reach us and reach out, and we'll be glad to talk. And then with Success Your Way, we're helping specifically over 40 female entrepreneurs that want to start and they don't know where to start. And so for a long time in the CPA firm, I kept talking about like how to start a business. And I would tell people that were sitting in front of me, and I realized there's such a need just for the little basics of how to start a business. So we've done courses related to that at successyourway.com.
Wow, it's great to hear, and it was a fruitful session, and we discussed a lot about the entrepreneurship here. And the listeners, I'm 100% confident on that they have get a lot of things from this episode and our conversations here. And Nancy, thank you very much to join me.
Thank you, Ash. It's been a pleasure.